Look, it's a flood.
The flood.
It's flooding.
Get away.
Quick, we need to get to higher ground.
Open the floodgates.
I mean, think about it. It's already a weird concept for people now to buy bottled water. You know something that I've always thought is hilarious? The brand Evian is naive, spelled backwards.
Wow. That in itself, right, is a mind bender. We could talk about that for a whole fucking... Because bottled water is kind of a ridiculous idea to me, especially now that we live in the day and age of water filters. Like, everybody's got like a pure water filter attached to their sink. Or you've got like a Brita in your refrigerator that you constantly have to fill up because your water bill is always rising up and crashing through. This is Doc
And Ziggy.
with the flood.
Now keep your death threats to 140 characters or less.
Preferably less, because I've been doing a lot of reading. I don't have time for that bullshit.
Yeah, I'm back in school, and I already spent the last week and a half drowning in white guilt reading it. The first chapter of my one class was called The Racial Nightmare. So,
Shit. Education for yo ass. But no, like, seriously though, bottled water, I think it's about time we get rid of that. Everybody, I mean, you can go to Five Below now and get a portable water bottle for the cheap. And like I said, you can even get water bottles now with water filters in them. So,
or you could drink city water. Shit'll make you strong.
I think it's time we say bye to the water bottle, or bottled water, because I'm tired of seeing baby turtles choking on shit. Let that one sink in. Like the baby turtles sinking in the six-pack rings.
I was gonna say in my soup.
I'm just...
Fuck turtles, by the way.
Wow. That's the stance we're gonna take today?
Fuck turtles. I got turned down by University of Maryland twice. Fuck turtles.
I had 2 terrapins growing up. I had 2 turtles. They're lovely animals when you take care of them. They can stink, though.
I'm a Duke fan, actually, because I got turned down. Actually, that's a lie. I'm a Georgetown fan. But I definitely like...
Alright, Brett Kavanaugh. Calm down.
Patrick Ewing, come on.
Calm down, Brett Kavanaugh.
Fuck turtles.
I was about to be like, I'm fighting for my life, but that's R. Kelly. That wasn't Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh, another angry white man.
Anyway, some stuff that we're getting into today.
Hold on. Here's a title shift for you. If you could recast 12 angry men with politicians from today.
Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz,
Brett Kavanaugh.
AOC,
Lindsey Graham. Ooh, for the inclusivity there. So Bernie Sanders, Brett Kavanaugh, Ted Cruz.
Dick Cheney.
Isn't Dick Cheney dead?
No.
No.
Are you kidding me? He lives in his underground lair with his 4th robotic heart.
Dick Cheney. Oh, then we gotta throw Steve Bannon in there.
Sure.
This is all just stacking
Malia
up.
Obama.
I was gonna say, so far this is really just stacking out to Malia Obama?
Yep.
As angry? Not Leslie
You gotta
Jones?
have the young upstart there.
Why not Leslie Jones if we gonna throw an angry black...
I mean, I actually have other title shifts, but I was gonna wait on those.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyway, some stuff that we gotta talk about this week. So, there was this little game called the Super Bowl that happened.
Ooh, Super Bowl news. Big football.
Further examples of my belief that the U.S. economy should be based on shiny cardboard. Trump got impeached, but then was acquitted. The Mandalorian star Gina Carano got canceled.
Made a big oof.
Now, that wouldn't have been something we would bother talking about, but there was a twist!
What a twist!
If you could call it a twist.
And then, of course, we have our WandaVision updates. We have some news on Hunter x Hunter.
We got
Ooh, and Zack Snyder is re-releasing a shitty movie, but this time even longer.
Well, let's get into it. Where you want to start today?
Alright, so let's start with the Super Bowl. So Tom Brady now has 7 championships.
And he made me eat my words, I guess. You know, I definitely was out here talking that cash shit. Like, oh, Tom can't go to another team and do that bullshit.
And then he did exactly that.
And I still argue that, you know, that maybe some strings were pulled, you know, with the NFL trying to remain in the good graces of all the Republican constituents and everything like that.
Fuck the game. Let's talk about the important shit. So, the Super Bowl streaker.
Oh my god, look, alright, explain this to me, because
So, the Super Bowl streaker.
I just saw this in
The streaker himself, before the game, placed a prop bet at plus 750 that there would be a streaker. It cost him $1,000 to get out of jail, and his $50,000 bet netted him $374,000.
So,
but there's a twist!
What a twist!
There's a twist to this. I was gonna say, do we think it was worth it?
He posted it for the clout too early, and now he's not getting paid.
That's what. I knew it. I knew it because I was like, that's like rigging the bet, right? Like you can't do that. It's like shooting with loaded dice. You can't just roll up in the casino with your own dice and make bets, son. And then you go out and brag like, haha, I got over it anyway. Like what? Why? Why are we clout chasing? God damn, fucking up the bag.
Take your bag and just walk away from it, man.
Right. But you had to let everybody know what kind of a fucking genius you were. Well, shout out to you, genius.
You and your big brain.
Costing yourself the fucking bag. Look.
You know what you could have done with that bag? Sponsor this podcast.
Shout out to our sponsors.
Absolutely no one. Now remember, if you use the promo code not sponsored for shit anywhere at any time, it will not work for anything ever. Time being.
Super Bowl streaker. So did you see the Nike controversy that Tom Brady brought up, or that was brought up because of Tom Brady?
Him covering the logo?
Yeah, did you happen to see? Did you watch the game?
Why was that a big deal?
Why was that a big deal? Well,
I think he just has an endorsement deal with another brand, right?
Does he? I guess he's recently did a deal with Under Armour, so him wearing Nike. But then again, that goes to the point of these fucking brand deals, right? Where these celebrities sign off on these brand exclusive deals, but they don't even really rock with their brand like that.
Look at Shaq.
I was just watching Wildin' Out where Shaq had these knockoff Jordan retros on, but they had his Dunkman logo on the shit instead of the Jumpman logo. And I'm like, we see you, Shaquille. He's like, why should Jordan be the only face of basketball?
I hope they do make Kobe the new logo.
That would be fitting, honestly. Yeah. I feel like. Which Kobe stance would be the logo, though?
I would probably say his,
You see how much we care about football, guys?
I would probably say his under the hoop, cross arm, up and under. Where he's like spinning, and then to the other side of the rim, he's like takes both hands and he like flips it up.
I would imagine it would be the stride where he's going up for the layup.
That's another good one. Rest in peace, Kobe, man.
Rest in peace, football. They got to do something to stay relevant. I don't know. I heard the halftime show was decent.
I mean, it had a great gif come out of it, where the Weeknd's walking through the tunnel and he looks all fucking lost.
I feel like that was from. I thought that was from the music video.
Nope, that was from the halftime show. And people were posting it with like when you lose your mom in the grocery store.
Oh yeah, I saw those. I saw all of that shit. But. So the Super Bowl went.
Whatever. We don't really care about football here. Basketball, on the other hand.
I was going to say, any basketball updates?
Jason Tatum is... the Celtics lost to the Wizards, man. Like...
Shit. Yikes.
And I saw this meme on Instagram, and it was Jason Tatum's face on Aang from Avatar, and they were just like, just when the Celtics needed him most, he vanished.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
It sucks. The Lakers are still really good. LeBron's still really good at basketball. AD went out actually last night with an Achilles injury that he's going to get MRIs on.
Shit, those fucking ankle injuries, man.
Oh, even worse, the Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, right? Like, the general area is never good.
I'm glad you didn't say same difference. I got on Periwinkle so bad the other, like 2 weeks ago for saying same difference, and I was like,
What's
it
wrong with
means
saying...
nothing! It doesn't mean anything!
Yeah, I used to feel the same way. Like, exactly what does that mean when you reference same difference? Like, it's similarly different from... what?
It means, it's like, are you comparing them both to a third-party item that is unknown? Like, you know, a wolf and a fox are the same different from your Michelob Ultra Seltzer.
Well, they're both dogs, and speaking of
and
dogs...
that's a can of booze water.
But speaking of dogs, DMX made his return to Drink Champs recently, Nori's podcast, where he announced that he's got some new music coming forward.
Really?
Coming forward. Yeah, where he was touting features from, you know, the Griselda artist Westside Gunn.
You listen to old DMX, it's real fucking problematic, though.
I don't know why I blinked just now on everybody else in Griselda. Goddamn, it's so terrible.
I hear Griselda and I think of the Beowulf story.
No.
Even though his name was in Griswold? Something? No.
Wasn't it Grendel?
That was it. It was Grendel.
Yeah, no, but Griselda, the niggas from Buffalo who have been really, like, reviving, like, that grimy New York style, like, gutter rap music.
Give Benny the Butcher his credit.
There you go, Benny the Butcher, Westside Gunn, Conway the Machine, all of them niggas. You know, DMX got features with them coming up on his new album. He also said he's got a Pop Smoke feature on there, which I thought was, you know, pretty tight before his untimely death. So, new music from DMX on the way. Also...
X gon' give it to you!
Also, Jay-Z is cited to be dropping a new track with a Nipsey Hussle feature.
On the same day, Nas is dropping a track. Again.
Yeah, always. Them two, even though they not beefing, they steadily
They still beefing.
Taking slight subliminal jabs at each other. Like, how petty
like,
can
they're
we
cordial at award shows.
How petty can we be? I mean, this nigga Jay pulled the ultimate boss move and then, you know, fucking hired Nas to come be like head A&R over at Def Jam. To ultimately sign that nigga, which is still wild to me because I still feel like
to just be like, I'm literally your boss.
Overall, Nas still has the #1 headband. So
we're gonna have to have that argument one day. I feel like we're gonna need to bring 2 other people on with us to have that too.
I feel like every time we do have this discussion, I always change who has the #1 headband in my brain. But it's still...
I think at one point you even gave it to Andre.
I can't give it to Andre. It's an honorable mention, but I still can't. Like, in my head, ultimately, it's between, like, Nas, Lupe Fiasco...
I heard that Jay-Z said that Lupe Fiasco is the greatest rapper ever.
And, like, Busta Rhymes, but that's, like, when we talk record sales and shit like that. Like, I had to stop the other day and seriously consider the fact that Drake has had a extremely long run, if you consider, like, general relevancy in music.
And it doesn't feel that way. But yeah, I remember Drake tracks coming out in high school.
Like, exactly, that's what I'm saying, like, 10 years, yo, longer than 10 years.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, so Static Shock is on HBO Max now, following a new redesign. It's pretty dope. My man has the,
So is it, like, new Static Shock?
No, but, Image Comics, I believe it's Image Comics, I'll probably get grilled for this, but just announced the new partnership with DC, so I don't know if you know, but Image Comics is where Static comes from, along with other characters like Icon. So Image Comics was the black, like, Marvel DC, like, it was black owned, they had a lot of, like...
You ever heard of Trill Squad?
I think I have. Instagram.
I mean, they're trying to get like a cartoon made for it, but it's to think like Boondocks, but the Boondocks meets Justice League.
Yeah, I almost feel like I saw 50 Cent is behind the production on that.
It's pretty hilarious.
So, but Image Comics, they had a partnership with DC because they were a black-owned, like, person of color oriented kind of like comic book production company.
So clearly they've been around for a while if they were the ones that made Static.
Yeah. And it was through their partnership with DC that we got the Static Shock cartoon.
And I think we've talked about on the pod before how important of a show Static Shock is.
Well, that in itself plays into the importance of it was Milestone Comics, not Image. I don't know why I was thinking Image. But yeah, Milestone Comics was important in itself because it gave us, like, you know, answers to, like, a black Superman, and, like, they had LGBTQ characters and stuff like that before, you know, when Marvel was using white allegory X-Men to tell stories that would be relevant to the struggles of people, persons of color.
I think you would agree with me, Stan Lee was writing it for the predominantly white audience for them to understand it.
But that's exactly, the point. And it's like, you know, while we had those allegories, it was nice to actually have comics to be able to relate to.
This actually brings me up, so one of my assignments for my English class, we had to proofread people in our group's papers, and one of them was doing it on LGBTQ plus representation, and they were like, people have these misconceptions about it, and these are the things that are really bad. And I'm thinking to myself, like, legitimately, I'm like, well, I mean, if these, like, subtle nods to this person's sexuality are done, but that's not, like, acceptable, then what are good examples of representation? And it just, like, the whole paper just seems very, like, doom and gloom and, like, kicking right in through the door, and he goes like, I'm going to teach you a lesson, but I haven't said what the lesson is.
So, like, let's take, like, I brought up Icon, right? Icon was a fictional superhero appearing in comic books published by DC, one of the headlining characters introduced by Milestone Media in the 90s. He was an alien from a different planet, right, who crash landed in the American South, and he was discovered by a slave woman. So to assimilate with the creatures on that planet, he immediately took the form of, like, the first thing that discovered him, which was a black woman. So he took the form of a little black child and was raised by this black slave woman. So he inherently was aware of the struggles faced by, like, black people in America at the time, but being almost, I guess, not immortal, but, like, invulnerable to, like, aging and stuff like that, he grew up with a different perspective than, I guess, most at the time had in, like, the 90s when he was introduced. So his character is a Republican, right?
Alright.
He's a black Republican character, and it takes I think he ends up becoming a lawyer, and it takes his assistant, who is a black woman, to convince him to fight crime when she finds out he has, like, superpowers and shit like that. Because he doesn't even, like, readily care to fight crime being a Republican. He's just out to protect his own.
Yeah.
And that's, like, some of the characters that Milestone Comics introduced with different perspectives and different stories being told. Which is why I think it's cool that, and I think it's extremely important, especially now in today's day and age, that DC is taking a second look at Milestone Comics characters and helping to bring them back into the spotlight.
Speaking of bringing characters back, you sent me some news that I got very excited over.
Ooh, which was that? Because, you know, I send you all kinds of
Hunter x Hunter's return?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You sent me an article. I don't know if you actually read the article.
I didn't read it. I kind of was hoping you did.
One of the two voice actresses who play... Well, both voice actresses who play Gon and Killua, posted on Instagram, and they were like, back in the recording studio with my partner working on that project.
That's how they said it. So it's finally happening.
That's a
How long
pretty
has it
obvious.
been? 2011.
2011 is when it came out.
Oh, is when it came out.
I think
so,
it ended in like 2015.
Okay, so it's been like a solid 6 years that everybody's been waiting.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've said this before, like I'm fine with how Hunter ended. Like if they're not gonna make any more episodes, I'm fine with how it ended. It could have been better, but I accept it. It's not bad by any means. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. I guess that's it.
That's how it ended. It wasn't fulfilling at all.
No, I mean, like it was like, yeah, Gon meets his dad at the end.
Oh, okay, so he did.
He does meet his dad, but
so
it's
the
like
ultimate arc was complete.
yeah, but at the end it was like, oh, okay, he met his dad. That's it. Like I said, I'm fine with it. Like the story concluded. There was so clearly so much more they could have done.
So I'm looking at the article now, and it doesn't, the two actresses are being very vague with everything, so it's no say that they are actually working on Hunter, but it's...
Look, I know it's
kinda
actually
obvious,
Hunter, but
yeah.
I say Hunter x Hunter for the people who are unindoctrinated.
Oh, well, I wasn't even going there. I was just saying, they're not specifically saying that this is what they are working on, but it's kind of obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
That's what they're working on. But,
I mean, there's definitely enough...
do you see so...
There's definitely enough chapters of the manga to continue the series for at least a decent amount of time.
That's what I was getting ready to say. So what kind of, stories do you think they would tell if Gon has already met his dad?
Well, so there's this thing called the Dark Continent,
Okay.
which is it just dwarfs the entire power level of you think it's basically Australia on crack. Everything is trying to kill you.
Shit.
Everything is trying to kill you. And you also find out that the known world to them is actually in the middle of a lake.
Oh, so it's kind of like Attack on Titan, a little bit.
Yeah. But they know of the Dark Continent.
Okay.
They know of
they
it,
know
but
of it.
there's only 4 or 5 people in the known world that have gone there and come back.
Right. So everything that in their known existence actually exists in a small, isolated, remote area, and there's a whole
Big ass lake. Because I mean, if you look at the world map of Hunter x Hunter, it's just all the continents rearranged and twisted.
Damn, I've never actually.
Yeah, it's really just the world map rearranged and twisted, and then there's just a massive amount of water on all sides.
Shit. Well, I mean, if they've got more story to tell, and they're not just kind of
Yeah, no, they definitely do.
shoehorning
They have the Dark Continent arc, and then they have the Succession arc. But it's also been over a year since Togashi released a new chapter of Hunter x Hunter, so...
Speaking
knows
of
what's active.
Succession, though, Claudia Conway is steadily trying to overshadow her mom.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember that.
Kellyanne Conway's
Yep.
daughter. The last thing I heard about her is...
Live streaming the argument with, her mom being like, why would you do that?
Well, there were actual, child abuse allegations, being put forward against Kellyanne Conway.
That doesn't surprise
they had,
me.
apparently they had gotten into, a really bad fight. I think the police were called.
Kellyanne Conway reminds me of, she makes me think that I'm you know what? You're like Brie Vandekamp if you kept drinking.
Shit. Who's to say she's not? But,
Did that one go over your head?
yeah, a little bit.
Brie Vandekamp is one of the Desperate Housewives.
Oh, yeah. See, that's why I went up. I mean,
I've seen that series twice through. I'm
I was
not gonna
say,
lie.
I even watched a couple of episodes.
I've seen the whole series fucking twice through.
Yeah.
It's really good TV.
Damn.
It honestly is really good TV.
Well, speaking of really good TV and Claudia Conway, she just had an American Idol audition.
How'd that go?
Oh, I sent you the video. It was okay. And even she admitted that, you know, she wasn't happy about her American Idol audition, but she made it through with votes from Katy Perry and Lionel Richie, who I believe is a host on there now. So it's
all night long, all night.
the hosts now are Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and some country singer. I forget who.
Blake Shelton?
No, it's Luke something.
Luke Perry, got it.
That's who I wanted to say, but I was like, no, that is totally the dude from Friends. Right?
No, 90210.
Damn it!
You're thinking of Matthew Perry.
Damn it!
You're getting your generic white people
Mixed
confused.
up.
You white, you Bet Affleck.
But yeah, no, her American Idol audition was okay. You know, is she not a bad singer? But I don't see her making it past round 3. That's just me being objective, guys. I'm not even trying to be mean.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I do feel like, speaking of secession, you know, she may have used her clout to
Yup.
garner some.
You notice a
Elbow grease
theme on
there.
some of our topics over the past couple of weeks.
We're trying to be cohesive, you know. Give some kind of form to the madness that is this flood.
Speaking of madness and cohesiveness, let me give you something that is totally mad and not cohesive at all.
Oh shit.
I came up with some title shift. What? What the fuck? John McClane and John McCain.
Really?
John McClane from Die Hard and John McCain, the senator.
I actually don't.
I feel like Die Hard is the exact same movie.
Yeah, I don't.
I just
see
want to
this
know what
being
John McCain is like as a senator.
more grumpy than fucking Bruce Willis.
Endless sound bites.
And I feel like John McCain is
It would be
definitely not...
like an unhinged Al Franken.
Man, what I wouldn't do for Al Franken in the Senate right now.
It was just weird to even think that, like, Al Franken was a fucking senator. Like, how crazy is that?
Could you just imagine him on the floor while Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham are doing this bullshit, like...
Drawing on his notepad and then just holding it up to the camera, like...
Come on, man. We need that. It's just... No, don't even get me started on our self-policing versus their, like, aggrandizing, like, delusion.
I feel like John McCain in Die Hard is a shorter movie and more people die.
Yeah, because there's no way he's shimmying through that fucking... those ventilators.
Not only that, but he doesn't have time for quick one-liners.
No, it'll definitely look more like...
Or this is gonna get us canceled, but he gets captured.
I was gonna say it'll look more like a Clint Eastwood movie.
Wanda Maximoff and Wanda Sykes.
What are you doing? What kind? So
Now, I'm really only interested in Wanda Sykes as Wanda Maximoff.
it's just a more sassy version of Wanda. Like,
I'm pretty
with
sure
a bit
she
more
would...
like agency.
Also, just, like, questioning. I feel like Wanda Sykes as Wanda Maximoff would, like, break the fourth wall.
I'm just trying
Like, she
to
would just,
imagine
like, look at the camera and be like, you see this shit?
a lot.
Alright.
What kind of shit I do? Now I'm just imagining Elizabeth Olsen doing stand-up comedy, right? Like,
Ooh, I feel like it'd be cringe.
exactly.
It'd be like watching Michael Cera movies.
Or
Anyway, here's the next one. Let's see if you can guess who the second person is. Denzel Washington and...
Denzel Curry.
George Washington.
Oh, are you serious? That's not even a serious one. You were just like, ooh, what if Denzel Washington was the first president?
What if George
Can you
Washington was
imagine?
Alonzo in Training Day?
Clearly, the more important switch here is Denzel Washington as the first president, right? Can you imagine how that changes
Everything?
Yes, the entire like ideology of this country,
Not only that, I don't think Britain tries again.
or slavery becomes a thing,
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
or what if slavery does become a thing?
Oh man, then Denzel Washington would be like Clayton Bigsby from the Chappelle Show skit?
Or what if he just owns a bunch of white Irish slaves? And everybody around him owns, like, black slaves, but you fuck around and get lost on Denzel's plantation. Why? Why do you propose these title shifts to me?
I have one more.
Oh my god. Go for it.
Joe Rogan
And Joe Mama? It's like,
and Joe Pesci.
same movie. Same
Good
podcast.
Goodfellas.
Same movie, same podcast.
I don't know. I feel like Joe Rogan would be like, in Goodfellas, they're all about to go whack some people. He'd be like, wait a second, man. Like, why don't we just like smoke for a minute? Relax. I have some
you
some deer jerky.
Yeah, nah, I still imagine that Joe Rogan is pretty angry, especially when he doesn't get his daily, like, 6 joints before breakfast.
Ah.
Come on, and it's still the same podcast, except for Joe Pesci yells at the guest more. Are you fucking serious? Whose fucking idea was it to bring this guy on as a guest? Who are you?
I don't even know you.
Ben Shapiro?
That's a really good transition.
Get this fucking jerk off out of here. No, seriously, get Ben Shapiro all the way out of here. Get Gina Carano or whatever the fuck her name is all the way out of here.
Super canceled. So we weren't even gonna bother talking about this
I'm
Gina
not
Carano
even-
person.
Yo, like, I'm
Like,
not even
we
in the
weren't.
realm of canceling
Like, she
people,
just got
right?
canceled because, Republicans are not dealing with Nazi Germany prejudice. You're not. I'm sorry. You're getting trolled.
Except for she is getting opportunities, just like the fucking country singer who called his friend the N-word. His record sales
I
went
saw
up.
this meme and they were like,
It's failing up.
Gina Carano got persecuted for her Gina Carano got canceled for her Republican views, and the meme was like, oh, what kind of Republican views? And the person was like, oh, you know the ones.
So, for our listeners who may not be familiar with the subject, can you please tell them what it is exactly that she said?
So Gina Carano, also known as the badass girl in Mandalorian,
The badass girl at
the
Mandalorian.
former Alderaan soldier.
Not respecting her agency at all. But should we, though?
She basically said that the backlash that Republicans get on social media is what it felt like to be a Jewish person in Nazi Germany.
She said some other wild shit, too, comparing... I don't know. She was, like, comparing, like, the vaccinations to, like, the Holocaust or some wild shit like that. Like, it just... Yeah, she had that...
Sometimes you just don't have to tweet people.
She had that affliction they all have of, saying the quiet parts out loud. That's, like, the trend now that their president or the office of the former president.
It's the precedent set by the office of the former president.
Exactly. And they get mad every time they get checked for this shit. And here is another example of them getting themselves. It's like, I always said, Donald was like reverse psychology, like doing this. They were like projecting, right? When he was like, I'm draining the swamp. He was helping all of the nasty swamp monsters expose themselves so we could drain the swamp. And here they are, outside of the political spectrum, just exposing themselves for the hate-fueled sacks of pus that they are.
So, we weren't going to talk about this at all, because, I mean, fuck her.
What is, yeah,
But the reason I wanted to bring this up was because she then signed a deal to produce a film at Ben Shapiro's studio.
another hate-fueled sack of pus.
And she said, "This is just the beginning of the revolution."
They've been clamoring for this fucking
And
revolution.
I wrote underneath of it, this week at Dorsey's.
Ever since Doomsday Preppers came out, right? Like, ever since Doomsday Preppers was a thing, these motherfuckers have been like, it's coming. It's coming. Alex Jones out there, you guys get ready for it. Before you know it, they'll be showing up to your doorsteps with the Humvees
All frogs are gay.
after they've taken your guns away.
Fuck Ben Shapiro.
But all of this goes into what we'll talk about a little bit later, but it's all about, the social responsibility and the social consciousness, man. It's like we were talking about off mic before we started. This social media is like an office party nobody wants to be at, and
Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers.
everybody's, gone off and formed their own little cliques in the party, but you can still get in fucking trouble for what you say here, Like, stop sipping on that fucking punch, man, because y'all niggas is getting a little bit too loose in the neck with the tie, and you start flying off at the gib, and you, like, saying shit that people are gonna check you for now.
Yup. And on the internet, it's never deleted.
This ain't the fucking 70s anymore, man. You can't just say what you want to anybody and feel emboldened. Like, and that's what it is. They feel emboldened to speak that fucking rotten hate from deep down in their gullet.
Yep.
They feel like it's part of their free speech. I should be able to vocalize how much I dislike somebody. And yeah, in all fairness, you should. But the free market, as you will judge you for it.
Actually, there's something relevant that I saw a friend of mine share on Facebook earlier. We might just go into it right now. He got a post from 4 years ago reported, and it was a Mickey Mouse statue doing the Nazi salute.
But why did he see? This goes into that sketchy territory we were talking about. Like, you can only be so into like gore before I start to question like your choices as a person. You can only be so into World War II before you start to question like how much of a Nazi.
Now, you also have to remember that 4 years ago is round about the time that, well, no.
When all the Nazis started to feel
No,
emboldened.
when Disney bought Lucasfilm.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, South Park was making a bunch of,
So,
Mickey
I mean,
Mouse
like, the
dictator
point
jokes.
of the meme is the imperialistic nature of Disney's business practice.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. We're sitting here calling
It
out...
makes me just go, what is satire for 100, Alex?
Yes, obviously, in this case, right? But fascists have also been known to use satire as a means of disguise. So you always... Now we
But
have
seeing
to
this,
question...
also from 4 years ago,
Yeah.
this is the point where it makes
I
me
get
go,
the point.
we're kind of getting into some sketchy territory here.
I mean, I get the point, right? Because I totally agree. As we are sitting here calling out these tech companies for their monopolistic tendencies, nobody is looking at Disney. And Disney owns the History Channel, they own ESPN, they own fucking ABC, they own Marvel, they own Lucasfilms. Like, yeah, like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the TV market.
Think about the percentage of just pop culture that is owned by Disney.
That's my, like, the media scope in general, right, is in its sense just as bad as like the industrial era like industries were, like big steel and all that shit, oil and banking and all that shit. You look at media and it's like, yeah, most TV, even though like it's all 800 channels and shit, is still all owned by what, like 3-4 companies at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
You have like Comcast, Warner, Disney,
and there's a company that starts with an A.
Viacom.
Viacom, that was the one. Yeah, it is Viacom. Yeah, Viacom owns like everything.
But I want to say, isn't Viacom owned by Comcast now? Maybe I'm wrong about that, right? But people are becoming more aware. No, they're not.
I will say nowadays, I will rewrite a tweet before I delete a tweet.
I feel like it's beneficial to scrub your social media every now and again anyway, right? Even though...
But I mean as a practice, like, it's a...
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's good to scrub that shit because a lot of the times, especially with Twitter, right? Because Twitter is just a stream of consciousness. You post shit how often do you post when you're fucking drunk, right? And you say some shit that you thought was funny when you were drunk, and then 4 years from now, you're going back and you're reading that shit, and you're like, I guess that picture of...
You're just like, why do I sound like Jaden Smith?
Yeah, you're like that picture of Mickey Mouse I tweeted doing the fucking Hitler salute seems kind of cringe in retrospect.
Yeah, I definitely know there's some dark fucking humor on my timeline somewhere.
I mean...
A lot of song lyrics.
Yeah, you be in modes, right? You be in moods where, and even comedians go through these like hateful phases, right? Where they're feeling dark and depressed, and a lot of their jokes are slightly like off-putting because of the state of mind that they're in, and they'll tell you
that's something we're gonna go more in depth.
Well, yeah,
2 weeks from now.
I keep wanting to talk about like, you know, the spectrum of comedy and its influence, but that's a discussion for another
2 weeks
time.
from now.
Right now, but it all plays into this social responsibility, right? And like, where do we draw the line between you being socially responsible and the internet being too PC?
Alright, so I will say that meme is definitely in the gray zone for me.
Well, you know, taking it back to Gina Carano or whatever.
Because
it's like the Republicans feel like they're being persecuted for their belief system, and it's like, when do you accept that you're wrong, right? Like, even if these strong ideals, or you know, these loose ideals strongly held,
yeah,
when do you accept the fact that maybe I'm the one in the wrong?
That's a hard thing for people to do.
Exactly.
That's a really hard thing for people to do.
Exactly, and we're sitting here...
I have learned to do it over the years.
And we're sitting here expecting people who, upon, like, looking at the things that they tweet out and that they post, it's like, yeah, how do these people even have, like, the jobs that they have? But we expect them to, like, self-police, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you can see that a lot of these people arguing these positions aren't educated in these things. You know, we've got people who sit online all day and argue that vaccines are a government plot to, like, call humanity into submission. And they're basing these claims off of, you know, things that may have some actual basis, but they're like one-offs and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
You know, they'll take a study where they see that Xanax was given to the Jews in the concentration camps to keep them calm and docile, and they'll be like, and that's why they're pumping mercury into the vaccines, and it's like, whoa, that's a stretch. How did
yeah,
we get here?
like, you just went bibbity-bobbity bounced the fuck far away.
We have people who know nothing about chemistry, nothing about, you know, pandemic response and all that, critiquing actual doctors and shit who have spent time and effort and money into perfecting.
But no, I've watched a couple of YouTube videos.
Exactly. We've got these, what should we call them? These internet experts, I guess, for lack of a better term. arguing with people, with actual scholars and shit. It's like, I saw something the other day that was saying we are no longer in the age of information. We are in the age of belief. Because it's all about what you believe. Facts are now arbitrary. And I don't know if that's the fault of the internet or if it's just humanity's fault. Because we do exist in the age of information where all of this shit is at your fingertips. All of this shit is at your fingertips.
One of the things that
you can learn how to bake a cake and do quantum physics in the same fucking afternoon if you're dedicated enough, right? Like bake a cake from scratch and, tie that into string theory.
I heard a really bad joke one time, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. If your shoelaces always become untied, but your headphones always become knotted up, why don't we use headphones as shoelaces and shoelaces as headphones? I call this string theory.
I'll take what is a dad joke for 200, Alex. Rest in peace, Alex Trebek. But bringing it back to social responsibility, at what point do we have to take responsibility for our ignorance?
Well, definitely at the point where it endangers others.
But look at the Capitol riots.
Yes.
Donald Trump was acquitted.
Yeah.
Acquitted.
We're not going to really go into that. None of us are surprised by that.
I think we should go into it, right? Because it calls into a question another important thing, which is our duty, our responsibility as American citizens, right? Like, it was majorly decided that Donald Trump was guilty.
Oh, yeah.
But
57 to 43.
But because it was not, a 2/3 majority vote?
Yeah.
He was acquitted. So, once again, as with his first election, right?
He lost the popular vote.
But won.
On a technicality. The founders of the Constitution certainly didn't see this level of partisanship coming.
Let me fuck your mind real quick. If Logan Paul beats Floyd Mayweather on a technicality, how pissed do you think everybody would be?
Not as pissed as Floyd.
How pissed do you think everybody would be?
We'd be livid.
Nobody would accept that, right? But here we are, in a state where, because of the pandemic, because of cultural climate exhaustion, we as American people are like, fuck it, what else did you expect?
Yeah.
We are so desensitized and we are so disengaged
that an impeachment trial is like passing news.
Not even the impeachment trial. The fact that the impeachment trial was won on a technicality.
We're not shocked.
I don't even think people are grasping the concept of what is happening here. This is why we can't get things done.
Facts.
This is why we cannot function under the same structure and system of government that we have functioned for the last, 305, something years?
It's like 250 something years.
Yeah, so round about 300. That's why this moment is important. Because, once again, like I said previously, what Donald Trump has done has taken the American government system and has put a microscope on all of the glaring faults that have been so easily ignored because politics is usual. Politics is boring. Donald Trump's pageantry has put a spotlight on the failing and crumbling system of government that we operate under.
Facts.
The GME shit, the GameStop shit, put a glaring, because we're all stuck inside right now. We have the time with the internet and the exposure here to look at all of the glaring faults in our way of life and really, like, what the fuck are we doing with it?
Well, all of those, like, glaring holes, you know what? You can always fill it up with water.
Here
With
at
the
the flood. But that's my point. Like, yo, bringing it back to social responsibility. That's the problem with the fucking internet. The age of information. So much information is out there, we don't know what to do with it. Niggas is baking cakes and contemplating the idea that the earth is flat. All in the same afternoon. You're learning how to homebrew beer and overthrow the government, and nobody knows what the fuck to do with this shit.
Meanwhile, listening to Kanye West rant on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, and every time you get, like, fed up, what do? You know, you turn on, and I'm not faulting anybody for turning Netflix and trying to tune this shit out, because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It is entirely overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're stuck in the middle of this fucking pandemic, and you don't know if you're sitting back, you're watching all this shit happening, and you don't know if the country is even gonna make it by the time they find a fucking cure. That's why people is fucking offing themselves, yo. The suicide rate is out the fucking roof right now. It's bananas.
You know who I was thinking about hitting up for a sponsorship? BetterHelp. You know that one that does, like, the online counseling?
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I mean, but that's why we're trying to, you know, make things more cohesive for you guys so we can get some better help. Not just mentally, but financially, as we're all hoping for, as they steadily keep trying to reel back.
Oh, I didn't tell you this. Speaking of trying to get that bag, so Periwinkle messaged me yesterday, and he was like...
Oh, are we allowed to talk about this on mic?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He messaged me yesterday, and he was like, I made chocolate-covered strawberries, and we're going to go peddle them in downtown Annapolis.
Hey, yo, that is such a Valentine's Day hustle.
Yep.
I'm all for it.
Yep.
I'm all for it. Look, you gotta do that kind of shit now.
And, like...
You gotta do that kind of shit now.
One of the things that he was like, I need some good lines, and I was just like... Cash rules everything around me. Cream, it's the berry. Double dipped in chalk, y'all.
Why are you not working for an advertisement agency somewhere? Come on, guys. That's what the fuck. Look.
Cupid was busy, so he sent us chocolate-covered strawberries.
Man, but look, am I breaking Doc here, or like, do you feel what I'm saying? Because we talking about.
No, I definitely get what you're saying. With, like, just they tweet instead of screaming into a pillow now.
Yo, it's just like, but at what point? How do we begin to check ourselves? Because then when we started to try and check ourselves, it developed into its own, like, monster culture, and now everybody is afraid of the PC police and they don't want to be canceled. Like, being canceled is a brand now. Like, you can say, I got canceled.
Look at Gina Carano.
Yo, it's the new band from TV, son. Like, Louis C.K. banned from TV, too hot for television. Gina Carano, too hot for television. Come on, Ben Shapiro, get the fuck out of here, man. That's all the fuck it is. And what makes me mad is the people on the right don't see the branding in front of their face. Like, they're falling into the shit. Like, yeah, they're finally saying the shit that I want to say. And it's like, do you not understand that they're just playing you idiots like a fiddle? Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call people who have opposite opinions from me idiots. But what you're afraid to say out loud is you don't think Monique should be allowed to, you know, wear her hair that way, or you don't think Laverne should be able to use the bathroom of her choice. But then maybe you should check yourself. Why do you feel that way? I mean, we've been down this road before,
Yep.
but it's still all
Self-reflection
a part of
is important.
social responsibility.
Social responsibility mixed with self-awareness.
But that's the point. we've got people checking other people's privilege and other people's responsibility without being self-aware, right? Because then you do have, the people, the white flight people, or, the white savior people coming out and championing causes nobody was worried about, right? Like, what's the joke? Ain't nobody worried about black people and Edward Scissorhands or whatever. Oh, God, what is the director? Damn, I fucked that joke all the way up. You making me feel like I'm alone here. Like, I feel like...
I mean, this is like your mountain that you wanted to really talk on, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna let him preach.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a little break, and then we'll get back to wrap this up, and then get back into some more headlines.
Break.
We get the YouTube thing. You tricky dick.
Well, no, I mean, like, that's even a fair conversation, even just to have. Like, we do want to try to be informed and informative
here, and we're trying to help you guys be decisive with the kind of information that you're digesting.
And we like to have
the alliteration.
Yeah. And we like to correct ourselves when we're wrong. We have a couple Lighthouse updates.
Oh, okay. And then we'll get back into the discussion, though, because I feel like it's worth fleshing out a little bit more.
Yeah, these are quick. Okay. So there is a 5-year gap between Infinity War and Endgame.
Ah, that's right.
The Vice President lives at the Naval Observatory.
Oh, okay. Not in the White House. Aw.
Damn.
Damn for those odd couple fantasies.
And Journey is from San Francisco.
I knew it. Come on. Isn't the song about San Francisco?
Who cares? It's Journey.
Anyway.
I'm sorry for all you Journey fans. I'm gonna shit on that band relentlessly.
That's us being socially responsible.
Yeah. We're doing everybody a favor.
We're doing our part. To course correct here, because...
Fuck Ben Shapiro and Journey sucks. And reality TV ruined the world, and the American economy should be based on cardboard.
And it is based on cardboard.
We'll get to that after we round up this social media thing a little more.
Everything is subjective now, and that's the point, right? Like, that's when we slipped from the age of information into the age of belief. There's so much information that information is subjective.
You have to remember that there is a difference between someone's opinion and someone's belief. You can change somebody's opinion, but when it's grounded into a belief, they're set.
What point does opinion become belief? Because we are only, 1,000 years removed from the sun revolving around
Once somebody has their island, it is a belief.
We exist on an island on a planet full of water. What are you talking about? Everybody is staking their flags in the ground now for what is to be the new normal. That's why we follow this shit out with none of this is normal, right? Because that's the time period we exist in. We did, I at this point, I really feel like we did slip into some kind of fucking alternate reality in 2012 and nobody realized it. They shot Harambe and he landed on a butterfly.
2016.
I know.
We debate between whether it was Harambe or Kobe.
Kobe! Nigga, it's ridiculous, right? Like, there are people you can't even have discussions with, like, about actual policy concerns anymore.
My mom.
In the actual Senate, because they believe in things like flat Earth and the protocols of Zion.
Yeah.
What? Come on, fam. Come on, how are we supposed to get climate change taken care of? How, Sway?
Wait 30 years?
You don't have the answers. No, oh my god. In 30 years,
it'll be fucked.
We could be living through the fucking Turner Diaries. Are you serious? Like...
Well, I mean, we're talking about a biological clock here. I'm talking about an entire generation dying, if anybody hasn't picked up on that.
Yeah, but that entire generation has inspired a generation. Like, the fucking domestic terrorists aren't these 50-year-olds and shit. I mean, a decent amount of them are, but they're training 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds. I mean, they can still do damage, yo. They're still doing... Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't fucking old enough to call crazy Aunt Mary Jo.
There was one time I was talking to my mom for like a half second. I can't even remember how the topic came. Oh, it was the GameStop stuff. And she was going off and saying how all of these Wall Street people need to get, taken down. And then she was like, now, you may not like Trump, but he did. And I was like, Mom, stop. I'm like, Mom, he started an insurrection on the Capitol.
I wish you guys could see how I looked at him just now.
I was like, Mom, he started an insurrection on the Capitol. She was like, oh, like people like me? I'm like, well, were you going to go to the Capitol? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, then not people like you. And she's like, but it was Antifa. I'm like, bye.
Right.
Walked out the door. I was like, I can't even do this.
I started the fucking countdown clock as soon as that shit happened because I was waiting to hear the spin on Fox News about how this was all Antifa and it was really Antifa that killed. Notice I saw somebody pointed out the other day on Twitter, I guess. Blue Lives Matter crowd has been really quiet about that cop that died.
Yep.
There's no visuals, no GoFundMe campaigns for his family. Justice for so-and-so. I don't even know his name. Rest in peace to the dude. I mean...
When the Blue Lives Matter crowd and the Don't Tread on Me crowd have to choose between the two...
I'm trying to... Look, that's a perfect example of how this is all fucking perfect marketing, right? Like, this is just propaganda marketing. They put this shit in front of your face and they blast to y'all that that's what the fuck they care about. But did Fox News run a segment on that dude? Did they have a moment of silence for the fallen officer? Like, I'm just asking. I don't know. Somebody please let me know. Because what we talking about here? Social fucking responsibility.
You know what's not socially responsible? Killing people!
No, Fox News is not fucking socially responsible.
Well,
yo.
absolutely not.
Their fucking commentators go on every night and they spout these fucking insane theories and propaganda.
To stoke fear and anger.
Exactly. To sell their products for their sponsors and shit. It's wild that people, devote so much time to exposing Antifa and the crazy left and the Joe Biden China train and all this shit, but they can't see the fucking propaganda being put in front of their face on Fox News. That's why when I have discussions with right-wing people, just trying to understand the mind frame that they come from, they always try to attack you like, oh, what do you watch Fox or MSNBC and shit? And I'm like, no, I can see the spin there too. That's the point. And they don't, once you disarm that argument, they don't have place.
You try to get in an argument, and that's where you have to respond. Look, I am a journalist.
It's objective, not subjective. You have to. There's the difference in why language is important, right? Yep. Because you have to be able to consume both sides now in order to come to an objective truth. And that is our responsibility. And it's hard, right? Because with everything else that we have to face, you got people working 60 to 80 hour jobs just to feel comfortable. And then you want them to come home and digest all of this propaganda to discern some kind of truth behind it all. And it's like, nah, fuck that. I'd rather just watch Game of Thrones. No, I just want to watch sports. Fuck.
I mean, basketball is really fun to watch.
And it's comforting. We need to find comfort in something, and everybody is trying to find comfort in a new belief system, and nobody is looking for the objective truth anymore.
You know where a lot of people try to find comfort?
Where?
In nostalgia.
I mean,
well, let me tell you something.
Obvious.
Well, let me tell you something. The nostalgia boom strikes again.
Ooh.
So Pokemon has a 25th anniversary Happy Meal at McDonald's where they have special edition cards in them. These cards are worth each pack has at least a $10 card in it. So people are going to McDonald's and buying out entire stocks of Happy Meal containers.
You see, this is what we do.
There are people that are buying countless things of Happy Meals, and they're giving them to homeless people. But there are also people in McDonald's who are selling full crates of it, meaning that they never even got to the store.
I don't understand us sometimes. I don't. I can't even pretend to understand. I guess because people figure, the most expensive Beanie Baby, right, is a Beanie Baby that was found in a McDonald's Happy Meal. And that's what makes it so rare, right, is it was only released for the Happy Meal.
I actually looked this up recently. The most expensive card from the McDonald's Yu-Gi-Oh card run
See?
was only like $30.
Oh.
But that's also because Yu-Gi-Oh is fucking stupid.
It's probably also not the rarest Yu-Gi-Oh card.
No.
It just so happened that McDonald's Beanie Baby
But
was
I mean,
the
each of these
rarest Beanie Baby.
it's if you buy a Happy Meal and then sell the card, you profit. It's straight up. You just buy a Happy Meal for $5 and you sell the card for $10, at least.
It's like the fucking sneaker market. Niggas isn't even buying the sneakers to fucking wear them, they're buying them to like sell them, upsell them shit.
Like I said, people are doing that with Magic.
the American
American
hustle, son.
economy
It's the
needs to be
American-
based on shiny cardboard.
Or sneakers.
Both. Just give somebody a pair of like Galaxy Foams in a box lined with with Pokemon cards.
Yo, America's economy is based on grifting, son. You literally, I'm over here, I'm thinking about it, right? Like, even if you look at the debt culture, right? Like, because you could say that America's economy is based on debt. That's still me going, hey, let me borrow this right quick, right? And I promise you, I'll pay you back like double. And then you go and you take that thing that you bought for this amount and you make some kind of product out of it and you sell that for like triple so you could pay him back double and you make your money off. Like, come on, it's all about hustling. America's economy is based off
when
of
I was
hustling.
going and I was selling chocolate-covered strawberries, you know what the first questions I asked were? How many do you have? 19. How much did it cost to make them? About $30. Great. You can sell these for $2.
How many strawberries?
19.
19? Man, fuck that. You better sell them strawberries a box of what? Like, 4 of them motherfuckers for $6.
I mean, we actually ended up selling 5 to this one couple, and they just gave us $20.
See, y'all not thinking like Americans, yo.
No, because the other thing is like people would balk at 5. People were balking at 5.
For 5 for how many?
For one. Like I said, we literally had 19 chocolate-covered strawberries.
Alright, you gonna make me do this math real quick.
If we sold them for $2 at 19, it'd be $38.
Okay, so my way you make like $10 less. But
We also were like, we'll accept Venmo.
now you just got me thinking about like how you could have maximized your profit
By having more than 19
strawberries.
strawberries for starters.
Well, yeah. But even then, I'm still thinking, but you gotta think like an American, son. You have a limited amount of resources, and you have to triple your profit. So how can you triple your profit?
By going to r/outside and hearing how they mine for their gold.
No.
They usually spend like 8 hours a day just doing like menial
You
tasks.
triple your profit by...
Owning the means of production?
Sir.
What?
By picking...
Hi, 10!
By picking your customer. You triple your profit by picking your customers. That is what you do. Just like these politicians gerrymander, you have to pick your customers. Who do you think is going to pay $5 per chocolate strawberry? Because there are people out there that will pay $5 per chocolate strawberry if you pick the right people.
Yeah, but there also have to be enough of those people.
I'm sure with 19 strawberries, all you gotta do is find 19 people that'll pay $5 per strawberry. I'm sure there are some desperate...
It was also cold and we didn't want to be out there that long.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but that's all a part of your determination, right? And we're talking about people who are really determined at maximizing their profit at the least amount of risk assessment.
WandaVision. So, is Vision only alive inside of the Hex? I'm trying to understand exactly what Wanda's powers are, and I think she does have actual reality
Wanda
working
is
powers.
broken, son. Yeah, let's start there.
She
Wanda
only
is
can
broken,
control
and
reality within a certain area around her.
I'm all for it. right? And I mean, maybe her powers are amplified by this background cosmic radiation that's being put off. I'm waiting to see if it's being put off by her or if it's something she just stumbled upon, that kind of thing.
Vision's body irradiating after the Soul Stone was taken out, or the Mind Stone.
Yeah, I mean, after he left the field, right? Like after he left out of the hex.
Yeah,
that
he
she
started
put
like
out.
just disintegrating.
Yeah, that shit was wild. So I'm gonna assume that that question I had been waiting to be answered. Vision probably is still dead, and she's just.
And I don't think the kids are real.
And ooh, you don't think the kids are real?
No, I don't think the kids are real.
I was going to say, to make this really dark, Wanda has been manipulating that whole town so she could gallivant around with Vision's corpse. Because if Vision dies and when he steps outside of the hex, then that means that nigga is still dead, which means she just animated his corpse so she could live out a sitcom. Wanda is playing Happy Homemaker with a dead body.
Yeah, I don't think the kids are real.
Wanda is playing Bewitched with a dead body, and I'm not gonna let you escape that, yo. I want
She's a necromancer.
It makes her like freak out when she was like, you know, talking to him in the kitchen and she imagined this nigga, or no, in the living room, and she imagines this nigga with his eyes out. It makes that like even stark because that's exactly what is happening at all moments. And it's extra weird because that's what she saw in her brother when they were talking on the haystack. Remember?
Yeah.
So did she animate his corpse too?
No, and here's the thing. Pietro is not taking any of this seriously. He's not taking any of it
No,
seriously.
he's not, but that makes me wonder, like, what's going on with all that, because he's supposed to be dead too.
But, I mean, he also knows, like, everything that's going on, but he also... It seems like he knows more about Wanda's powers than maybe even Wanda does.
Okay, feel me, hear me out. Now, what if that's because she was having a hard time dealing with the fact with what she was doing, and she needed somebody to talk to about it, because even Vision is starting to catch on to it, right? And if you notice, the people in the town are becoming more like loose with acceptance of this reality.
Yeah, I actually made note of the one neighbor who's on this neighborhood watch. He seems like fully cognizant
Of
like
what was actually happening.
It was like, did he just kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna go with it as long as I get to be me.
Yeah, but what if Wanda brought Pietro back to life so she could talk with herself about what she was doing through her brother, who would be the only person she would be comfortable with talking about what she was doing? And
Because she's living a sitcom with the corpse.
she brought her corpse brother back to life to check her for what she was doing, because he's the only one who can check her. So she's using him as a puppet to give herself therapy.
Now, is this a hot take, or is this what you believe is true?
This is a hot take, but it's still kind of it's my working theory. I mean, we're only one episode in with this nigga, so. And she did shoot him with the laser, which kind of makes me feel like maybe he's not really her brother.
It's wild. It's wild. Like, the kids develop the superpowers, but they're told to not go past Ellis Avenue, right?
Vision went
And
past
Angie was stuck in the car at Ellis Avenue.
because that's where the
Wanda's powers cut off.
not even where maybe that's where her powers. That's like the weak spot,
Yeah.
right? The people in the town go any further than that, then she risks them going outside of the hex, because that's like within the parameters, like of the perimeter of the hex. Then she extended it. Which let me.
That was a great scene, by the way, because it just made me it made me think of like every like tsunami scene in a movie, and instead of them just like getting washed and blown away, like they just all
She
turned into
turns
clouds.
niggas into
They just turned into clouds.
She's like, I'm tired of the circus act, son. this shit the fuck out of here. I told you, nigga.
Bunch of clowns.
Now,
Clown emoji. Clown emoji.
she's gonna have to wipe this nigga Vision's brain again. It
And
doesn't.
the thing is, his Vision has no memory of anything before this.
Who are the Avengers?
Now, I asked you this earlier. What 2 movies were being played in the theater during the Halloween festival?
Oh yeah, but you told me already. It was, damn it, I forgot.
It was The Incredibles and The Parent Trap.
The Incredibles and The Parent Trap. And like you said, those movies weren't even.
They weren't out at the same time.
They're both Disney movies, though, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're talking about the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap.
Yeah, that's why I assume they were both Disney movies. That's funny. Oh, yeah, it's getting spicy. It's getting spicy. I'm waiting to see where this shit goes.
Actually, let's think about that. So, The Incredibles is obvious, a superpowered family. Right?
Yeah, but what about so you think there's a point to them, like, those being the 2 movies?
I think there's some subtle nod because what else is going on in The Parent Trap? They're tricking everybody.
Ah, I see what you did there. I don't know. I guess, to me...
You know they're not just gonna, like, pick random movies to fucking throw up on there.
It just makes me wonder, like, what's gonna, like, where this shit is going and how it's gonna all play out. Because then they announced that with Geraldine, her, like, molecular structure is changing because of how many times she's been inside and out of the Hex.
I think you actually might be right about the Vision Corpse thing, come to think about it, because Vision wasn't at the fight in Endgame.
No, I told you, and it makes this shit even darker because she's been laying in bed with that fucking corpse every night, yo. And she's been having animated arguments with a dead body. And it just makes me wonder, is Vision actually Vision, or is Wanda controlling Vision's mind? And if Wanda is controlling Vision's mind, then why is she allowing Vision to be, like, cognizant enough to realize that something isn't right?
Well, for starters, Vision is a robot.
It's all a lot. And I'm just waiting for the, David Duchovny cameo.
Yo, that one scene, I told you, I was like, now, just imagine David Duchovny as Agent Mulder right here. And you're like,
Because this is
yeah, it's so fitting.
Because this is some X-Files shit. This is totally some X-Files shit,
And you could absolutely seeing him get kicked out with Geraldine and Russell Park.
Randall
Park.
Yeah, and Kat Dennings. Oh man, this show is good. It's good. It's definitely worth the wait. I hope Falcon and Winter Soldier is just as good.
And Loki.
Eh.
Eh.
I'm not really like, I'm not a Loki stan. I'm not out here caping for Loki like that.
I think Loki's a good character. Apart from Thanos, he's like the only noteworthy Marvel villain.
I guess that's fair.
Ultron come and went.
Do you
Doctor
think
Strange
Ultron is gone?
like Dormammu? Like, I mean, like...
No, you didn't. Just disrespect Dormammu like that.
I mean, look, I know he's wicked powerful, but like, ugh, I'm a floaty face of fire. Who the fuck are you, Andros? Do a barrel roll!
Oh my god.
That was a Star Fox reference for all you people.
Oh, you Zoomers out there.
I had to think for half a second what the name of the Star Fox villain was.
I wonder if we have any people who would classify... Zoomers probably don't classify themselves as Zoomers. They probably prefer Gen Z, first and foremost, because that sounds way more edgy. I hated the term millennial.
I'm fine with it. We could be called worse.
That's it? You just fine with it?
Oh, yeah, and then a couple other random things that I wrote on. Wanda just flat out saying, I'm gonna magic you into a whatever. But she just,
into a
her saying,
pickle
I'm
jar
gonna
or
magic
something?
you into...
Yeah. But what in reference to? Like, what do you mean? What was her...
She was talking to Pietro. Like, yeah, she was just like, I'm gonna magic you into like a pickle or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
remember that, but... See...
Her just acknowledging that, like, she has, like, magic.
Oh, okay. I guess that's fair. Like, them dressed up in their golden era costumes was hilarious to me. And I'm like, thank God that's not how they landed on in the actual movies and shit. But on that note, we're gonna take our final break and we'll be back to wrap things up in a little bit.
we got some final thoughts and shots from Doc.
I mean, honestly, I just feel like rounding out what we were talking about when it comes to social media responsibility and like social responsibility in today's day and age. I think it's time, like you said, that we become more like reflective in the way we consume information and media in general. I think it's about time that we understand that you're entitled to your opinion, but you are also expected to be informed on your opinion. So if you are going to be loud about what it is you believe on this internet microphone that we call Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and shit, you better be ready to defend your position. You can't, it's just like you can't bring a product to market if it hasn't been tested and tried. And if you try to bring a product to market that has been tested and tried and it fails, then you are held responsible for that. Mm-hmm. And that's what social media is. It is a data market. Like, at the end of the day, even though you are, it's like a fucking giant bazaar. I mean, Instagram is like one of the best examples of that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you're here discussing today,
and window shopping.
Yeah, politics and window shopping. You're looking at memes of art and shit like that. And yeah, if you fucking steal from somebody, you're gonna get checked for that shit by everybody in the market. Like, if you fucking are cursing out some old lady, you're gonna get checked for that shit by everybody in the fucking market. Like, if you're cheating people, that you're gonna get checked for that shit. And I think it's dumb to continue to complain about cancel culture when cancel culture is not a thing. Like, that in itself is a market. Like, it is a way for people to brand themselves as edgy and outside of the box and non-normative. Like,
and yet Bill Maher still hasn't been canceled.
Because some people don't want that brand, right? Like, that's a risky brand to get into, because then how do you have to have like whole redemption arcs to escape that brief, like, boost in your cash revenue that you may get from people who are into those kinds of things. But I think nowadays people are more empathetically conscious to other people's struggles and shit like that, and some people are having a hard time adjusting to that because they really like that dark, edgy, like, Christopher Nolan reboot that we were living in.
Yeah.
Like, but that shit is over with. It's, we're existing in a time period where it is at the utmost importance for us to come together to face our bigger problems, because we're not going to solve the big issues until we come together and collectively attack the issue.
Now, you were talking about social media as a brand. Jon Stewart joined Twitter recently, and he follows one account, Arby's. He stays loyal to the brand.
But that's what you had. That's wild.
I laughed for a good 2 minutes when I saw that.
That is satire.
Well, The Daily Show was sponsored by Arby's. They just always would do like shitty Arby's. Like, we're sponsored by Arby's, the place you want to eat if you want to spend 6 hours on the toilet.
But I mean, look, everybody on the toilet with their phones now.
Following Arby's. Now, in fairness, Arby's is a good Twitter follow.
I just feel like, what I was gonna say though, I feel like it is important nowadays, while you're sitting on the phone scrolling as you should, to be cautious about what it is that you are.
What you hit the retweet button on. What you comment on.
What do you even spend the time and effort like reading? Like, I guess read what you want for enjoyment, but always remember to be objective in
it is your duty to be an informed citizen.
Even now, more so than ever, that holds true and is relevant, right? Because like I said, with so much information at hand, it is objective.
And it's
Because it
kind of
becomes
hard to sort
subjective.
through that flood of information.
And that's why we're here to remind you guys that
None of this is normal.
Look, it's a flood. It's flooding.
Get away!
Quick, we need to get to higher ground.
Open the floodgates.
Wait, why can't we talk about Black Sabbath?